Hello all, welcome to Carrow Road, where that stand over there, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, the South Stand, had 1,000 Norwich City fans in today, 1,000 season ticket holders back here, and that was a great step in the right direction. But we'll stay mainly focused on the football because I think you're gonna hear a lot about those fans because, of course, it was there was only 2 games in the Championship today that were allowed to have fans in. So great, they made a decent bit of noise, and in the end, they saw quite an entertaining game. To be fair, definitely a lot to work on for Norwich. A 2-2 draw with Preston. They had to fight back twice, 2 equalisers, so that's got a nice little narrative to it as well, hasn't it? In terms of, they did that, so they really struggled to do that last season. I think it was only 5 times, was it all season, that they managed to fight back even during a game. So 2 equalisers, that's got a nice feel to it, hasn't it? But I think, as I said in our live updates at pinken.com, I'm not going to get too up or down about what's going on with Norwich at the moment until the transfer window is closed, because we came into this game, of course, big news, I'm sure you didn't miss it, that Barcelona have been chasing Max Aarons, and that appears to have been a genuine link, although the reports of a 20 million bid for him, from what we understand, are not correct. That they were loan offers, and frankly, there wasn't enough assurance in those deals that the Norwich were going to get money at the end of it, because Barcelona are struggling a bit for money. Their president has said that they are facing a 200 million loss because of the pandemic. So, that's going to be an interesting one to develop. And they turned their attentions to an Ajax defender now, and you just wonder whether Max's agents have made sure that gets out there, that Barca had wanted him to try and generate that bit more interest ahead of the deadline, which is October 5th for non-English deals or non-domestic deals, and October 16th, I think I'm remembering that the right way round. So there's basically another 2 weeks for domestic deals. But going into this one as well, Emi Buendia not involved. That is, from what we're told, was just a knock on the shin. Daniel Farke had actually teed that up in his press conference yesterday, hadn't he? That he got a little knock in training. And he wasn't involved, but of course that gets everybody talking, doesn't it, about whether that means Emi's off as well, given his interview earlier in the week about wanting to play in the Premier League. Obviously, all players want to be playing at the highest level, but Preston really made Norwich work hard for this one. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Alex Neil came back and was, all action on the sidelines, a bit of a jack in the box, really, just constantly badgering his players to press Norwich, and that really worked that first half. They really notched Norwich off their game and didn't allow them to get going. So I think Preston will travel home a little bit disappointed they haven't got all 3 points, but in the end Norwich did have lots of big chances. Scoring started in just the 14th minute. Oliver Skipp makes a bit of a naive mistake. I suppose that's the youth on his side that just basically barges into the back of Ben Davies, who goes down like he's been shot, and buys it from the referee. But he gave the referee a decision to make, and the referee made it. I don't think you can have too many complaints about it, even if it is maybe a little bit soft. Then Scott Sinclair, former Celtic, of course, he manages to send Tim Krul the wrong way from the spot just behind me there in the Barclay end. Norwich had to sort of change what their plan was, really. 24th minute, Kieran Dowd had been quite quiet. I think he got a knock quite early on. He was replaced by Shemek Placheta in the 24th minute, but Norwich equalised 7 minutes later. That was a corner. Quintia again, some good corners. It had been recycled to him by Max Aarons, the first one. Then he puts it back in near post. Pukki nods the header across, and Declan Rudd does his former club a favour with a really poor. Sorry, somebody just shouted Dave, and I thought they were talking to me, but I don't think they are. Pukki gets the header across. Declan Rudd just makes a complete mess of it and manages to chuck it into his own net, really. So 1-1 just after the half-hour mark. Very nearly, Pukki was in about 5 minutes later. Rudd does really well. poor header backwards from Ben Pearson in midfield, and Pookie looks like he's clean through, but Rudd just gets to it on the edge of his box, you know, living dangerously as well, because he was very close to the edge of his box. Other than that, yeah, just before half time, 42nd minute, and Norwich just lost their shape, really. Aarons and Zimmerman got themselves in a little bit of a mess. Ryan Ledson with a lovely pass into the left channel. Krul has to come out and try and stop it, and can't. And Scott Sinclair with the shot. Godfrey manages to get the header away. And then Darnell Fisher basically has pretty much an unguarded net just to lash into, and that's 2-1 before half time. But Norwich were definitely better in the second half, and if you look at the final stats, they had 57% of possession. Preston had 13 shots to their 12 and 6 shots on target to Norwich's 5. So, you know, a real competitive battle here today. Max Aarons was one of the better players for Norwich today. He was very bright, no doubt trying to impress any watching scouts, and he cut in on his left foot and managed to sort of curl it towards the top left corner, and it just dropped onto the roof of the netting. Adam Eder came on, and he once Placheta had moved to the left, I think he was a lot more effective. That seems to be where he prefers to be. And we spoke to Placheta after the game actually, and his English isn't great, but you know, he's buzzing to have got that first goal for Norwich. But yes, Eder comes on, 67th minute, and uses Aarons as sort of a decoy runner, step over into the box, and then blasts a really good low shot again. Another good save from Rudd, and it comes to Placheta, and you thought that was the equaliser at that point, but it just saw the bright lights, I suppose, and lashed it over the bar. It wasn't the best of finishes in the end. There was big calls from Eder for a handball from Ben Davies after a Placheta cross in the 75th minute. Eder saw that up close. From the angles I've seen, I'm not convinced yet, to be honest. Maybe, but I haven't seen anything sort of definite so far. What else have we got? At 85th minute, of course, was the goal. A Max Aarons cross, and Placheta has a first dig at it. It comes back to him, quite fortunately, sits up, and Rudd is sort of unsighted by that point, and Placheta on his left foot just finishes nicely, arrows it into the top right-hand corner, and it's a really nice finish, to be fair. And the 1,000 fans who were lucky enough to be in here, they really made some noise for that. They loved that, and they could smell that. You know, there's a real story unfolding here if they could get that late winner, and they so nearly did. Declan Rudd making up for that terrible error for the first goal, and again it was Placheta on the left, gets away, really good strength to hold off Barkhuizen and eventually get the cross in, and Pookie gets across at the near post, flicks it goalwards. You think, here we go again, Timu Pookie, late goals in the Championship, but no, Declan Rudd sticks out a glove and prods it over his bar, and Preston survive basically, and both sides settle for a 2-2, which in the end I don't think anyone's going to be too disappointed with. As I say, I think you want to try and shake off that hangover, really, don't you? And they're not at the point where they're able to build confidence and stuff yet. This all came down to Preston's pressing, really. They just harried Norwich so much in that first half that they couldn't get into their rhythm. Skip and McLean particularly, I think, will be a bit disappointed with the lack of control that they had today. Cantwell couldn't quite have an influence. You know, to see a reasonable amount of the ball. Onel Hernandez quite quiet. Pookie certainly put himself about and showed some good touches. Quintilla again with some good set pieces, good deliveries. Still sort of waiting to see a bit more from him in open play, but maybe that's because we've been spoilt with Jamal Lewis in the last couple of years. You know, he really is. Sort of prominent when he's on the pitch, isn't he, Jamal? Because he gets up and down so well. He's such an athlete, and so we've still got that side of things, haven't we? The players are getting to know each other. But Christoph Zimmerman today, probably not his favourite day, and he's obviously got Ben Gibson breathing down his neck to a certain extent, and Grant Hanley's back in full training next week. Will we see someone like Sorensen come into the mix in midfield as well? I mean, there were times when I probably would have rather had Tetty on the pitch than McLean or Skip, to be honest, today. So, you know, but it's still early doors. There's no, as I said earlier, there's no point getting too up or too down about things. They're very much trying to settle down and get into a rhythm. But, you know, if you compare to when Norwich had got into their rhythm in that Championship title-winning season, and certainly that first half when Tetty and Leitner looked so well balanced, you know, they really complemented each other so well. We definitely didn't see that today. We definitely didn't see that sort of control. So, interesting, a lot to sort of get your teeth into, plenty to be frustrated about if you want to, but I don't think I'll be getting two up or two down at this point. It's still very, very much early days. We'll head to Bournemouth next Sunday now, of course, as it is. Instead of the Friday night, that game has been moved. We'll be keeping a close eye on transfer business this week. We'll have to see whether Emi Buendia is back involved. Daniel did stick with the same starting 11, same 18. Didn't put John Hugel on until I think it was 88th or 89th minute, so he didn't really get a chance. But he tried to put himself about against his former club, but no real chances for him. But yeah, an entertaining game for certain. And as I say, with that stand that you can see over my shoulder, the south stand, with the 1,000 season ticket holders spread out, socially distanced, and I hope that they really enjoyed that. And one point I'd say for the next home game actually is that at the start of the game, as usual, they went to sing On the Ball City, and the club put the recorded On the Ball City over the top as well to try and really build the noise. Whether that's for the benefit of people watching from home over the stream, I'm not 100% sure, but I didn't think that really worked actually, because it then meant that they were out of sync, whereas they were giving it a good go to make plenty of effort themselves. So I'd say just leave it to the fans who are in the stadium. But they made a reasonable bit of sound, and obviously there was the latter part of the first half when things got reasonably quiet because it was getting quite frustrating. But overall, I would imagine that those 1,000 quite enjoyed their day. But I think we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for following. The new stream, which we're having a bit of a play about with, allows us to get the video verdict out quicker. So you can see the verdict on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So we're just getting used to how the best way we can make use of this platform. But just finally, in terms of a man of the match today, I think it's kind of difficult to pick out anyone who was a real standout. I think Max Aarons would be up there, but you'd have to go for Placheta really. If anybody changed this, Pukki was decent as well, but he did get his goal, and well, hopefully not. Hopefully it doesn't get taken away by the dubious goals panel, because it could go down as an own goal. But obviously that's his first goal in open play since last December, if it sticks for him. So yeah, Pukki and Aarons pushing close, but I would go for Placheta. Eder was good when he came off the bench as well, and has got to be pushing for a start. He really made an impact, but Placheta created that Pukki chance, should have scored that chance, but was in the right place for it. Of course, he scored the goal, and certainly once he'd moved to the left, I think we started to see the best of him, which is probably going to be a little bit worrying for Onel Hernandez, because he had a bit of a forgettable day again. So yeah, Placheta for man of the match. And again, I'd probably say him, Pukki, Aarons, 7s. Pretty much everyone else a 6. Possibly I'd go McLean and Skip for a 5, just collectively as a unit. Really, they didn't, Skip conceding that penalty. McLean kept going and kept fighting, and towards the end of the second half certainly came back into it. But that partnership didn't work out today. Maybe Zimmerman just tipping into a 5 as well. But once again, let's not get 2 up or 2 down at this point. It's very, very early. They haven't found their rhythm yet. A tough game next Sunday waits though. Bournemouth play Manchester City on Thursday night, so that could be helpful, particularly if they win that and have got another tie to prepare for the following midweek. But yeah, that's going to be a tough game. They drew 1-1 at Borough today, I think I'm right in saying. Cardiff won today, and who else? I think Bristol City won as well. So still early to see how the Championship is taking shape, but let's say Norwich unbeaten in 2 games, shall we? Let's end on the positive. Thanks very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of the game in the comments below, and of course, Pinken.com is the place to go for all the analysis and the reaction.